Hey, this is James Pelton, and I hope you're having a great Sunday. I have an AMA today with the team from Finnovant, and I'm very excited about this one. I think that this is going to be a very good long-term play. So again, a lot of what my videos are about are, short-term passive income, start making, $100 a day or whatever. This is not like that. This is something that I'm looking at as a long-term play. So again, I use a lot of my short-term plays to kind of fund these long-term plays, and that's really where wealth is going to be built. Probably not in these short-term, projects that last for 90 days and they're dead, but in these that, when you look forward 20 years, I think Finnovant and what they're doing with their biometrics and the blockchain is going to be really big. So if you don't know what biometrics are, basically biometrics are unique things about you to identify yourself. So like your fingerprint or your eye or your face recognition. And so basically Finnovant's goal is to try to incorporate your biometrics with data, okay? And that might sound kind of scary. At first glance, it's like, I don't want that. Because we're used to big tech like Google and Apple and Facebook, and it's like, well, I don't want them to have, my fingerprint and my eye print and all these things. But the beauty of the blockchain is they can take this biometric data and put it on the blockchain, encrypted, and it's decentralized. So no one owns it. In fact, you own it yourself. So there's just a ton it's hard to even specify what exactly you could do with this because there's so many possibilities. I mean, this could change every aspect of our life. But this biometricfinancial.org, and I'll put a link to that, but these are just some of the use cases, and some of these are already out. So like SayTech is a way they use your voice and your face. So some of this we have like on your iPhone, you can use your face to unlock things, but again, that's owned by Apple, and I don't really like that. So this is on the blockchain, but using your voice and face for passwords, so you don't have to remember all those passwords. They have a crypto wallet that uses SayTech to, use your biometrics to get access to your wallet. You can use biometrics to, in like voting systems. And, maybe someday the government itself will use this. There's a lot of regulation you have to go through before we get there. But basically you can prove one person gets one vote. Voter fraud is a big deal right now. And with biometrics, you could say, hey, one eye print gets one vote and things like that. They have a phone that's coming out. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the AMA. It's basically going to be a phone completely integrated into the blockchain. I haven't seen anything else like that. There's a password manager. Again, using your biometrics to unlock. So, and they actually have some APIs, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically an endpoint where people who are making other software developers can use these biometric tools in their software. So I think what we're going to see is honestly, I think we're going to start to see the death of like passwords and things like that. And it's going to start to be biometrics that is what gets you access to things. And I think Finnovant is going to be a big part of that going forward. So a lot of revenue streams, which again is very exciting for us as investors. So it's a little bit of a lengthy AMA, but I do recommend you watching it. They're a fun team. If you're interested in getting involved, you can go to this biometricfinancial.org. Just go to Find BioFi, and it's available on Trader Joe. Okay, so you can buy the BioFi token just on Trader Joe. You just click I understand, and then you just need to connect to AVAX, the Avalanche network. You can send some AVAX to your wallet from Binance or KuCoin or wherever you have it, and then you can just buy BioFi right there. Make sure to set your slippage low, and that's how you can start. All of their revenue is going to bolster to support their token price. Eventually, I'm kind of encouraging them maybe add some kind of staking and things like that to get that passive income. But yeah, very excited about the future with things like Finnovant. I think it'll make our life easier in a lot of ways. So anyways, here is the AMA with the team from Finnovant. Well, this is James Pelton, and I am here with the team from Finnovant, and I appreciate you guys coming on. This is one project that I am very excited about. We were just talking before we started recording. Not excited for the short term as much as I am for the long term. And a lot of what I'm trying to do with my short-term wealth is find long-term projects that I can take this short-term wealth that I'm making through, these node projects and things that I'm in, and put it into something long-term that can be kind of a way to make long-term generational wealth. And I think Finnovant is one of those. So thank you guys for hopping on. Could you guys start by just introducing yourself and give a little bit of how you found your way to Finnovant?
Yeah, I'll start off. And first of all, James, let me just say thank you so much for the opportunity to address your audience today. My name is Brian Ma. I'm the CEO of Finnovant. We're so excited to be here. It's amazing, I'm doing this because of my passion for this space. And we get so excited every time we talk about BioFi, biometric financial. In essence, it's a utility token. And it's a secure set of solutions that's developed by this team, which leverages the blockchain and decentralized services. And it really goes to the heart of solving so many issues that people have about safeguarding their personal information and staying safe from fraudsters. One thing you'll find in this conversation is that we have no desire to sell anybody's information. We believe in privacy. We believe in safeguarding personal information and helping build peace of mind in every consumer that uses this ecosystem. The power of your data belongs to you. It's your data. It's nobody else's. You own it. Our solutions represent most business sectors around the world. We offer that through an online ecosystem or a portal. It's connected to the blockchain. It's using cryptocurrency, the BioFi Token, to be able to purchase and access the ecosystem. This is entirely global. And this is significant because every person in every country, in every territory can use this ecosystem. It's secure. It uses biometric identification and the blockchain. And it has the great potential to secure personal data throughout the world and have a lasting impact on so many people's lives. And that's why we get so excited about it. On this call here today, you're going to talk to an amazing team. They have incredible passion. You're going to hear it in our voice. You're going to hear it in our conversation. And their strength covers so many industries: blockchain, IoT, crypto, all across financial services, with a great strength of incredible experience. We have a great website, biometricfinancial.org. I would send the audience to go there and take a look. All of the products and services that are available for the ecosystem are on the website. You can go there and learn more. And we'll talk about that more in this conversation here. And how you go about actually acquiring BioFi. How do you do that? We'll talk about that here on this call. I'd like to say thank you so much. And we really appreciate the time with the audience. And next, I'll turn it over to Chris Benedict, our CRO. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. And James, thanks for having us in again. We love spending time with you and your community, so we appreciate the opportunity here. So my name is Chris Benedict, and I'm the CRO, which means Chief Revenue Officer. And so very simply, I'm responsible for sales, partnerships, and anything that can drive growth and opportunity into the company right now. So it's a really fun role to be in. I get to bridge traditional finance with DeFi. It's just a great spot for us as a company. I have a background in bringing new innovations, new products and services to the market, financial services, payments, and so on. So I think we have a great team, as Brian said. We have a great mix of DeFi and TradeFi. And at that, I'll pass it over to Cody and let him introduce himself.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, James, for having us here today. Always love getting with you guys. The energy that you bring and the future insight that comes, it really helps enable my vision to even take it further. So I always appreciate that. My name's Cody Dyer. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer over here at Finnovant. My background's strictly DeFi based. I've been over here in crypto for almost 10 years, watching all the growths, the falls, the buildings, the shortcomings, and I'm really happy to be building. My major developmental skills or my major developmental growth came from around or the major breakthrough, I would say, came around being the author of the proof of existence token, which is a protocol for establishing anonymous but unique individuals on the blockchain through taking SATEC, which is Finnovant's patented biometric security software, and integrating that, taking your face and your voice, making a unique hash that completely makes it anonymous, so I still don't know who you are, and pairs that with your wallet on chain, leveraging the blockchain, so creating singularity for an individual on chain, as well as some prominent undertakings of data aggregation theories, which have received grants from Ocean DAO and the Ocean Protocol. So there's a whole lot of early developmental experience that came from really just being early in DeFi and walking through DeFi summer and seeing the experience and understanding tokenomics and the ins and outs of this market, and being lucky enough to work with the Finnovant guys and their deep TradeFi experience, 10, 20, 30 years, between the whole team, there's over 100 and something years of solid DeFi experience with major companies, the MasterCards, the Visas, the IBMs, enterprise, bringing real products to market, taking real enterprise mainframes and infrastructure. And just from my experience of loving DeFi, a deep route for decentralization, and being able to bolster that with the backbone of what the TradeFi integrity has brought to offer for a true long-term vision and a true long-term trajectory with product after product, with people who have put app after app on the market. So I'm really happy to be where I'm at. And I think even though the day-to-day can be kind of condensed and there's spinning so many plates, the long-term vision on this is, massive.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, it's awesome to have you guys again. I enjoy hearing all of you talk about your vision and what you have going on. So Finnovant, a lot of projects that I have in here in the crypto world really have no utility at all. It's just tokenomic games that they're playing to try and get you some kind of a return. And I kind of see Finnovant as the opposite, where you have so much utility. And the tokenomics is kind of just added on top of it for utility. Could you talk through, and I actually want to share my screen here from your website. I think that might help people kind of visualize it. Could you talk through some of the products that you have and ones that are available now? And then maybe we can get to ones that are coming in the future. And I kind of just want people to get a feel for what your technology might be able to do going forward.
Yeah, and I can take this question. It's a fantastic question. And when you take a look at the ecosystem itself, and we can think up, 10, 20 years into the future, and talk about each of the products. We can talk about providers. We can talk about how each can leverage the ecosystem. In fact, you were on the Finnovant page, and if you go to the biometricfinancial.org page, that's actually a really good list. And then just slide your screen down a little bit there. You can actually see the flip boxes, and this gives you a great example of the kinds of utility that we're providing today. So just glancing very quickly, you have the Cryptic Wallet, which is available in both iOS and Android. We also have a Android version, which is off the grid. You can download an APK file from a website. We talked about Governor DAO. Cody brought that up. And we have an implementation of the biometrics in Web 3.0 with Governor DAO, and you can actually get to their site once you click the box. We have things like the biometrics on device. We have them in standard web that you would use in a traditional web environment where you do not have a wallet or Wallet Connect. We have things like examples in here like the Phenix X1, which is our node phone. This is a fantastic technology that we're looking to bring to Constellation and other networks. And it's just incredible what's packed inside there. We have things like the Uni SafeBox Password Manager. This is an incredible product which is available for download right now. using one BioFi. It just takes one BioFi to access the ecosystem. And you can download this to your Android device as an APK file. It will soon be available in both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And I got to tell you, James, this is a fantastic product because guess what? It has an inheritance feature, which means that you could set the inheritance before you go hop on a flight. And let's say you have a fear of flying, you're concerned the plane might crash. You can actually set the inheritance feature so that in the case of your demise, God forbid that were ever to happen, you could then bequeath your entire UniSafeBox account to somebody else. It could be somebody in your family. It could be an attorney. It's an incredible feature, and we love talking about these things. These are just some of the examples, James, and there's so many. We have Cyberleet on here, Cyberleet Gaming, Alchemy Advertising. There's so many things on here, and we're adding these all the time. We have another 4 that we're working through right now to add on the flip boxes. It's an incredible thing. And what makes this ecosystem so powerful? It's not all about us. It's about the community. It's about the people that we're trying to help in every country, in every territory. And that is why we're so passionate about this. And it will grow in 10 to 20 years. You'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of companies and products on here. And this ecosystem will be massive, operating in every country, in every territory, helping people around this entire world.
Could you talk a little bit about your API? I know that was last time we talked, I know that was a big part of what you were doing, was building an API so that the technology you've created, and for those who don't know what an API is, sometimes I get ahead of myself, but it's basically just a way for other developers who aren't part of Finnovant can access and use your tools in their apps. And it basically opens up this whole new world. Can you talk a little bit about that and some of the, I guess, potential that you see there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And to add on to those earlier comments, the API is available right now, both on device. So if you have an Android device, if you have a iOS and iPhone device, it's available on standard web. So if you're accessing any kind of a page, it could be a bank, it could be your insurance company, it could be your municipal bond website, it could be in Web 3.0 Governor DAO. You see the example there. So we have all these types of products and capabilities and technologies covered. And the API is written in a way that somebody who's junior or senior can actually implement it fairly quickly. And we have people on the team that can help them do that. We have documentation. We have a process for somebody to become a provider in the ecosystem and access that API. And I want to highlight, James, that when somebody becomes a provider, they actually have access to put their likeness, their image, and their wording on that website. And this is done through a third party. This is not controlled by Finnovant. It's actually part of the utility mechanism of the website and of the ecosystem. We do not control it. It's controlled by a third party. And as each provider comes in and adds themselves in, somebody's making the decision to let them on here, and we do not control it. And it's a wonderful experience because that's what makes this so wonderful around the world. Anybody can join in, bring your technology, bring your ideas, and become part of the ecosystem. You will pay in BioFi to use the authentication, the biometrics, and other features that are available. So it's just a great concept, and we love technology, we love products, and we love helping people. And this is a great way to do it.
Okay, very cool. Now this is there could be many right answers to this question, but in your opinion, what is one thing that you think would change a lot of people's lives that Finnovant has built or is going to build in the future? And again, there could be many answers, but what's like one thing that you'd be really excited about?
That sounds like a Cody question right there.
Well, yeah. So there's every single piece. We're building puzzle pieces and we're building puzzle sets for Lego sets for other people to help build. But I think the biggest proposition for me is the node phone itself, because the node phone encompasses all of the other pieces. It encompasses the SATEC. It'll encompass the wallet or any other app that we want to bake into it. And also, as we announced that the partnership with the telco provider in telecom in Africa, providing access to developing nations, and where people are intertwining with their cell phones, and cell phones are their biggest form of payment. They don't have computers. Cell phones are like the name of the game as far as the internet goes. So being to actually enabling the future of end devices and edge computing, and the potential of 5G, and all of the actual value proposition of being an endpoint in a consensus mechanism inside any other grid, of being a biometric endpoint inside a proof of reputable observation consensus mechanism on DAG, or running in a PRO on top of a proof of stake, or running as a data miner in a proof of work consensus mechanism. Any of those types of capabilities for any project that I'm so excited I'm frothing because you can integrate with anybody and do the same thing for them. And all the other apps, all the other, Brian was, alpha leaking that we're in the conversation of adding 4 new flip boxes. All of those providers could have apps that'll be baked into the phone. And if James Pelton comes up with a project in the next 6 months, within a year, I'm going to help him with his raise. And then within 2 years, he's going to have an app in my phone, so those types of things can, is what we're building towards. And I really think the value of this device, the thing in your hand, goes so much further. This is your portal, and this is your safety net, and this is also your bank. So as this expands, and Dagnum said the other day, he's like, too many people are concerned with Nike, too many people are concerned with Adidas. Not enough people are concerned with the developing world. And you're spot on. People and that's what we're trying to do and enable anyone. Doesn't matter if they're in America or any other part of the world, giving them access to decentralized finances, giving them access to the potential of decentralized insurance, giving them democratized insurance, give them democratized bonds, or any of these types of. It gets overwhelming how much we can do with this. And I know you were just looking for the one thing, and I can do it all on the phone.
I had a feeling that the answer would not be one thing. So, and we could probably do a separate video on each of these.
Yes,
really could.
And maybe that's something we should do going forward. Like, hey, let's do a video on SayTech. Let's do a video on what you have going on with the metaverse.
I'd love that.
Okay, well, let's. I would love to do that. Like maybe once a month, we just come in and, hey, here's something that you can do with Finnovant, and but let's talk specifically about the phone. So, like, I'm having a hard time. How is this phone going to be different? I have an iPhone right here, right?
Yeah.
How is this, and how is a phone so integrated with the blockchain? How is that going to be helpful for me? How is it going to make my life better? And when is this going to be available?
Yeah, Chris would love to do this one.
Sure. Thanks, Brian. James, that's a great question, because it's not just a phone. It's got different features, right? I mean, it is based on the Android platform. So from that perspective, it's a cellular device, right? But it's got two sides, and it's the biometric security that's one of the key differentiators to access the device. So what does that mean? It's basically divided in two. So you have your day-to-day public side, and then you have your private side. There's an additional security chip embedded on the device, and you must use your biometrics to switch from one side of the phone, from the public side to the private side. So you can store data on there that never touches the public side. It has 2 SIMs, which is not, it's not the only phone that does that, but it allows you to have an account number and phone number on one side, and a phone number on the other side for whatever your unique uses are. So the idea is, on that secure side, you can keep everything that's important to you. You can secure and safely store your seed phrases, your bank account passwords, whatever the case may be. And because we have partnerships with companies that do end-to-end encryption on SIM cards, you can now have a VPN, so to speak, or secure connectivity from that part of the phone outward. So you can secure it, you can use it for data mining, you can use it for whatever you like. It's still a phone, but what we're doing now is we are redesigning the Phenix X1, which you see there, into its next version which will be 5G and will be available sometime next year. It is designed to have the capacity to run more transactions. That's why 5G is important to that particular device. So how is it important to you? How is it important to the blockchain? It's got bigger capacity, it's got faster speeds, and it's got more security so that you can access the things in a secure way that are important to you.
And then, yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited. I'd love to be a beta tester or something for something like that. I love new tech, and
I think we can make that happen.
Okay, that's awesome. I'd love that. Could you talk a little bit about how all this being on the blockchain is different and better than Apple and Google and Facebook and what's going on with the big tech companies, and why you didn't go that route? Like, why are you not just a big tech company like that? Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
I'll talk a little bit about that, and then I'll invite the guys to jump in on it as well, because we'll all have something to say in this space. But if you think about BioFi from where it started, and I'll take 30 seconds on this if you'll allow me. When we founded Finnovant 5 years ago, our objective was to secure people's information and their identities better than they were being done years ago through biometrics. That was our objective. So that has grown and morphed and expanded into what the BioFi ecosystem is to where we can protect people's identity and their information. And we take a completely different perspective than big tech, to get to your question. Big tech and big data, whatever you want to call them, they take all of our data and they monetize it. I think we've heard Cody quotes this one all the time, that Facebook makes $150 a year, something like that, from each person, because they take your behavior and they take your information, they package and sell it. BioFi is going 180 degrees in the other direction. We will not do that. Part of the ecosystem is that we're protecting it and securing that information, and you, the user, control it. And if there's going to be some monetization or exchange of value, you, the user, can decide who to share that information with, and you can decide what that value exchange is.
I think the real value of having the interoperability with the blockchain and the compatibility between the private side and the public side is you get to choose what's actually between the different chains, and you get to choose what's actually saved on chain. You know, through things like UniSafeBox, you're able to actually back up that type of information and give the inheritance to other UniSafeBox managers. So then you have the option to choose what is on the device between what apps are actually interacting with the chain and what's private, what's public. You know, in the future, I don't know if this is in actuality, but we might be able to be interested in more. I don't know too much about the world of privacy coins, but there could be more that we expand upon that. We could learn more, and especially because some of my biggest interests are in the realm of the CBDCs and where that comes into play with regulation. And I'm every blockchain convention I can get to, I'm trying to look at every board that's talking about central bank digital currencies, because that's where the establishment is heading and that's where enterprise is heading. And I was at the MIT Expo one of the days last weekend, and they were discussing about Project Hamilton, which is actually a group that works directly with MIT and the Boston Fed. And they're able to do over 100,000 transactions per second with CBDCs on bulk transactions and 1.7 million transactions per second with micro transactions. So where I'm really keen to see where the future of this goes is keeping the identity of an individual secure. And especially as this world comes more overlapped with the metaverse and where augmented reality and virtual reality comes into play, and keeping you as an individual and, the removing the ability, it's actually a statistic that about 25% of all traffic on the internet is malicious bots. So now if we can prove that an ecosystem is unique contenders, especially in a proof of reputable observation consensus mechanism, or for voting or anything in that mechanism of keeping things within the realm of the ID and keeping the security of the ID, and especially with your device, because as far as I'm concerned, into the next 5-10 years, your device is your ID. And where that line falls for where your social security falls with who you're able to talk with the CBDCs, they're just talking to the, whoever's paying you're paying your taxes on. And this whole system is being all of the institutions and the governments, they're getting all of the information from all their best their best minds from across the world. They're looking at all their options, and they're going to decide what the future of 9 out of 10 banks in the world banks are looking at CBDCs right now. So I'm really keen to see, and this group right here is the most well-positioned, I believe, to help you in your sovereignty as this evolution, because this revolution becomes an evolution.
Okay, very cool. No, it's exciting. You're very inspiring to listen to. It kind of gets you.
I hope so.
Should be a YouTuber. That's a.
I've heard people have told me, why don't you write books? Why don't you do? I was like, I'm a builder. That's what I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
So then maybe they'll write books about me.
There you go. There you go. Can we talk a little bit about so on the financial side of things? Can you talk a little bit about revenue? Like where revenue comes from, because you're not selling the data, which is where, Facebook gets their revenue from almost exclusively. So where's your revenue coming from? And do you guys have estimates of like how much revenue that's going to be and going forward and things like that?
Yeah, I'll start this and then turn it over to Chris. At a high level, revenue comes from a multitude of places. So for example, every time there's an authentication, there's revenue generation. So if somebody is authenticating with the biometrics, then BioFi comes into play. The token is actually used all over the place. And James, you mentioned that, it's going to be nice to come and talk about each of those flip boxes. Well, imagine what we're going to talk about with the Ethos Metaverse and Doge Run. You're going to freak out when you learn that there's so much revenue generation inside that game. And there's all kinds of dogs and eggs and ways for people to interact where they're actually purchasing components in the game. There's a huge, massive metaverse play here that's just incredible for BioFi. And then you get into things like the Phenix X1. Imagine the Phenix X1 connected and processing transactions as a node. And think about that. All the revenue generation, processing transactions and coming through the phone, paying back the person who owns the device and doing a rev share with the biometric financial ecosystem. And then you have NFTs, and then you have access to companies, providers like Governor Dow. You have access to providers like Cyberlead and providers like Alchemy. And Cody was mentioning Tel Solutions in Africa. That's 2.5 million people joining the ecosystem who will have biometric validation every day they log into their financial services portal every single day. And imagine that, bringing 2.5 million people into the ecosystem. That press release and the conversation around that has barely even started to be discussed out in the community. We've had this incredible market situation going on, and we're going to have to bring that up maybe in one of your videos and out in the community and other AMAs and really talk about that. One thing we're looking at bringing in is the CEO of Tel Solutions, and getting into a conversation with him in front of the community. We think that would be quite helpful. But these are just scratching the surface. I'll turn it over to Chris, and I'm sure you're going to be amazed at all the ways we generate revenue.
Thanks, Brian. I think you did a pretty good job of answering that question, so I'll just chime in a little bit. Partnerships, that's a big piece. When you look at, right now, we've seeded the BioFi ecosystem space with the products that Brian and Cody and I have been talking about so far. But that's not the end of it. The BioFi ecosystem is not about Finnovant, all right? We're just kicking it off with things that exist today. Those partnerships, those providers who come into the ecosystem will be using the BioFi utility token as the value exchange mechanism within the ecosystem. So as an example, someone comes in and they have an app that they're going to make available, a solution, insurance, say it's renter's insurance, whatever the case may be, and they have an app on the phone. Well, they're going to secure that with biometrics and come in. And in order to get access to the ecosystem and to buy the biometric functionality, they're going to pay that in BioFi. So that funding comes right back in to the BioFi ecosystem as new providers come in. As you then, as an individual, as a user decide, I think I do need more insurance, or I do need the UniSafeBox password manager because I want to secure my seed phrases, you're going to use BioFi to obtain that. So between users and partners or providers, the method of value exchange is the utility token itself. So as this expands, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, Finnovant will be a very small part of this ecosystem. We expect the ecosystem to be, bigger beyond our wildest dreams at this point, because we're making it easy for people to participate and bring their solutions in and to deliver more value to the people who are in. So sky's the limit. And if you want to know about partnerships, just think about any place you secure data today, any place you use a login and password, that provider could participate in our ecosystem.
Okay.
I think one last thing to that. I think especially for BioFi as it is, and with what we've set aside for rewards and returning to the ecosystem, we're going to make a mix of the different consensus mechanisms. Especially through like the Phenix device and being able to earn rewards. That's a proof of work model on earning and kind of generating flow, and then through like the rewards pools on the website, the single-sided pools are farms that'll be coming, or the potential for collateralized debt positions. That is a proof of stake consensus mechanism for you to earn. And then as metrics come on top of that through partnerships and other types of, as the network expands, as we build state channels, the proof of rapid observation consensus mechanism comes into play. And that alone, you have JP Morgan saying the metaverse is $1 trillion or more industry, right? You've got billions of dollars in Bitcoin data mining equipment, so that between that, the devices, the metaverse as a whole, the different types of consensus mechanisms, the partnerships, where isn't there, a profit, where isn't there a revenue structure?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. The sky's the limit for sure. So where do you see yourself? This may be the last question before we talk about how people can get involved. If they, see this vision, they see the products, they see everything. But where do you see yourself? If everything goes to plan, where do you see yourself, and where do you kind of see how this has changed the way we function, the way the blockchain works? And we had talked about 20 years. That might be a little too far out. But let's say maybe in 5 years, and then we could talk about 20 years if you want to talk about that vision too.
Yeah, I'll jump on that one first. This is such a passionate play for us. I would firstly say that our tokenomics have a 10-year emission schedule. So this is not your typical pump and dump. This is not a hey, let's go get a bunch of money and go build something or try to build something. And we, our heart goes out to all the people that try to do this type of thing. It's hard to do. It's not easy to do. And to build a product, to design it, to code it, to test it, to get it into market, to build it into a utility, right? Because we actually, to Chris's point, this is not all about us. We're seeding the ecosystem so that it can run on its own. It's not us that's going to be here as the main factor. We're just putting it out there. It's like setting a ship out in the ocean to sail. It's on its own. It's doing its own thing. And it's designed to bring other companies on board automatically without us being there. And that's the beauty of it. It's a true utility. And it grows and it continues to grow and it builds on itself. And that's the beauty of this. And we're adding providers rapidly. The system is adding them. Biometric Financial is adding providers as we speak, big ones. And so it's an amazing thing. So 5 years from now, you'll see people in every country, every territory. You will see companies, providers coming in here, James, adding their products in every country and territory around the world. In Singapore, in China, in Brazil, in Canada, in London, right? The UK, in Germany, in France, all over the place, Sweden. You're going to see things pop in here that'll blow your mind. And those products, those services, the providers that put those in there will use BioFi as the glue. And that's the beauty. In the tokenomics, to Cody's point, which is a very excellent point, those emission schedules are designed to pay back, to incentivize access to the ecosystem. So the more that comes in, the more incentive, and the average person around the world gets benefit from that, because these products and services are designed to help them in their everyday life, to help them to stay safe, secure, and use all these features, play games in the metaverse, access advertising, decentralized, access the ability to make payments, the ability to buy insurance and insure their belongings, to invest in municipal bonds, in government services, automobiles, you name it. This thing covers all the sectors, and in 5 years, you'll see this play out in each one of those in a very big way. That's why we're so passionate and excited.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, it is very exciting, and again, I'd love to be a part of it. So for people who want to be a part of it, they want to be involved. Let's start with, how can people just be informed about what products are available, what products are going to be coming out, and as things continue to evolve, how can they get involved just information-wise? We'll start with that.
Okay, I'll jump in on that. The easiest thing to do is follow social media. I mean, it sounds obvious, but the truth of the matter is we've developed a pretty good sized Twitter following and Telegram following. So on Twitter and Discord, actually all three of those are evolving very quickly. Twitter and Discord is under Finnovant, the name Finnovant, and on Telegram it's under BioFi Community. So those are three really main ways to stay in touch with everything that's going on. We try to populate each of those channels with every announcement, anything that's going on. You can also sign up on our website at finnovant.com or biometricfinancial.org for our monthly newsletter. And this way you'll get a summary every month of the big things that are going on. So that's not as frequent, obviously, but that's a good way to stay in touch as well. There's a ton of information on those websites. So if that doesn't meet the need of someone, if someone needs a little bit more, there's a help function built into the websites. So they can just go in there and say, hi, I'm Joe. I have a question about this, and we'll get back to them. So there are many channels. Social media is the easiest and most current, but we have web options as well.
All right. And then the last thing I want to talk about, which is kind of what my channel is mainly focused on, is how can we make money from what you're doing? So what's the best way to get involved financially?
I'll take that first and then turn it over to the guys. I'm sure they'll have great comments here. So we have 3 locations right now, and we can share the links with you, James, where people can go and actually find BioFi. And there are 2 centralized exchanges. One is MEXC, the other is La Token. And since we are launched on the Avalanche network, that's the home of BioFi, and for good reason, right? Because the transaction fees are low. You can surf over there and go to Trader Joe and find BioFi. So those are the 3 places. Now, we have this wonderful website, biometricfinancial.org. And we also have a button on there that takes you to app.biofitoken.io. And that particular website is where you take your BioFi and select a rewards option. Imagine this. You can actually take your BioFi and go in and pick a rewards option that gives you back something in a reward for depositing, for holding your BioFi for a period of time. And it's a wonderful service because this is not speculative. This is not something that you do for 2 hours and you buy it and you sell it. This is generational. This is something that you do for a long period of time. It's utility. This is all about utility. And the people that come in to do this do it because they want to use the features of the ecosystem. Providers will come in and acquire a lot of BioFi to use to pay for their biometrics or other services like advertising in the cryptic wallet, or to acquire a large quantity of Uni SafeBox, the password manager, as examples. And it's that process of being able to acquire it on the market, to find it, to come back to the app.biofitoken.io website and pick a rewards option. And once you're in there, you'll be taken well care of. And we're very proud of that site. And you can go in there and you can download the Uni SafeBox password manager. You can download the Ethos Metaverse Doge Run game. You can access other events that are going on. You can read and learn about BioFi, about the ecosystem, about all the providers. There's all kinds of great utility, and it's being built up every day. And for that, those are the very immediate things. And anybody who owns BioFi, James, it only takes one single BioFi to enter the ecosystem and take advantage of the utility. It's not a heavy lift. Anybody can do it. And we make it very easy, and we put a lot of things on there so it's fun for anybody coming in.
All right, very cool. And can I ask, so does the revenue you generate, does that support the token in some way? Like as you know, more things are built up in the ecosystem, should we expect that the token will kind of rise with that extra revenue generated?
Yeah, revenue is always going to flow back into the ecosystem itself. But you know, what I'd say, what I'm focused on and what the team is focused on, we're not focused on looking at that chart every day. What we're focused on is driving more utility. Because as we drive more utility and more people come in, that's going to take care of itself. So that's really where our focus is, because we're long term and we're not here just for today. We're here for the long term. We're looking at generational changes, generational benefits, not just something over the short term. So we're focused on that utility because we know as we drive more utility into it, things will go where people want them to go. They'll continue in the right direction.
Can I ask, how do you guys feel? Does the bear market really affect what you're doing at all? You know, we've kind of seen everything's been crashing. How does that affect you guys? Or do you just build and keep going? Or how does that affect you guys?
I just, either if the market's going up or the market's going down, my philosophy has just been build, you know, because if you build it, they will come. As we put more products on chain, as we introduce more partners and more, you know, regenerative token flow and reciprocal value, it's just going to get easier. I was, during the last bear market, I was a big holder of Chainlink. And, you know, as you see, utility in a bear market, you know, beats, you know, downward movement. So the idea is that we're going to catch some wind as, you know, even if the market continues downward, as the products and the flow becomes available, as, you know, the metaverse becomes more enabled, as more products get more flow and that sort of thing. So I think no matter the weather, you know, we should be able to keep locking in more value, more revenue, more products, and that should persevere.
Okay. Can I ask where your funding came from originally? And does the token, is that a necessary part of your funding going forward, or how are you staying funded? Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. We went through an accredited round of funding, and then we did an external round outside the U.S. So 2 successive rounds, which were separated by a time lag and announcements. We also did a launch pad. We participated in a launch pad outside the United States, and all of those were very effective. And we're now at a point where the token is in the market and the utility is very clear to everybody who's using it. And by adding more and more of these providers every day, they're finding the ecosystem, they're learning through other people, they're seeing it in, you know, maybe a trade journal, maybe they read our newsletter, maybe it's an article someplace, and they're reaching out, they're finding their way in. And the more that find it, the more that we can communicate with through AMAs, and they join up, they stand to come into an open community that loves what we're doing. They come into a community that will support them. So people that have games, people that have apps, people that have Web 3.0 applications that they want to bring forth and get into the market, if the technology works and they have passion, they love what they're doing, they want people to use it, come to us, come to the ecosystem. The ecosystem is designed to be self-serving, to be self-regulated. Come and join up. Become a part of it and use BioFi. It'll integrate into what you're doing. It'll help the communities. It'll help the people around the world. And for that, we will do everything we can to continue supporting that utility.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. This was very helpful for me. I know it's a good AMA when I'm excited at the end. That's how I can tell if it was a good. If I'm like ready to fall asleep and hey, let's get out of here, then I go, oh, maybe that wasn't the best one. But no, I'm excited and excited to see what you guys do. It almost feels like cheating because you guys do all the innovation and you guys do all the building. And we just got, as investors, we just kind of get to jump on your back of everything that's being built. And it almost feels like cheating. Like I feel like I should be doing more or something like that. But no, very excited.
You're doing your best. You're doing your best.
Doing my best. Doing my best. That's right. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping on and talking through this. It was very, very good, very informative. And yeah, I look forward to continuing a relationship with you guys and just kind of seeing what you guys end up doing.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, James.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that AMA with the team from Finnovant. So I really appreciate them, really enjoy them. Again, if you're wanting to buy the Finnovant token to take part of their revenue and what they're doing going forward, you're going to go to this biometricfinancial.org. You're going to go to find BioFi, and you can buy it on any of these, but obviously Trader Joe is the one that I'm most familiar with. So you're going to go there, just click I understand, connect to Avalanche, and then you're going to transfer AVAX for BioFi. And so what I'm doing is I'm dollar cost averaging in like $200 or $250 a day into BioFi until I get kind of up to the position that I want to get up to. Again, that's kind of, I use my short-term passive income projects to dollar cost average into these longer term projects. So, swipe that strategy if you want to, or you can come up with your own. So I hope you liked this. Please do hit the like button. Please do subscribe. Share the video around. I appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments below if there's other things that you'd like to see videos on. Happy to review some things. I have a freeway video coming out this week, and my numbers from April, I actually kind of forgot to do those, but I'm going to do those and some other fun things as well. So thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate your support. Have a good rest of your day.